It's lights out and away we go here in Belgium. TK alongside Nordy as they go down towards Eau Rouge. Contact between the pair and Nordy, and TK are out of this race. They're side by side and there's contact. Evil Steel is around and into the wall. Hercules is out. Oh, Homicep spins and Homicep is out. Oh no, in the wall, Nordy's out. Ice Kid Man is out. We now actually have more retirements than we have runners in the race. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to FR Series Division 5. It's round 9. It is time for Suzuka, Japan. We're all been looking forward to this, haven't we? Welcome back. Of course, it's been 2 weeks off. I am Harringzord, and I am joined by McNugget, who I hope can hear me, because we've been having a few issues.
I can indeed hear you. I am so glad to be back. I didn't know that everybody last week in Austria missed me so much that they wanted to have an early finish and decided to DNF all over the place.
Now, on the subject of last race, we need to update the result for you, because while Van Onbase may have crossed the line first, he was demoted to third position because of this incident coming up the hill. He cut the corner when he was passing Jock James. You can't do that. Didn't give the position back and was penalised 5 seconds. It meant that Cookie was the eventual winner in Belgium ahead of Evil Steel and then Van Onbase.
The Cookie monster sneaking into that jar and stealing first place. Shame on Van Onbase. I see him in chat here. Shame on you, Van Onbase. But that was 2 weeks ago, though. A lot has happened in there, including you acknowledging me as the greatest knowledge of Formula One.
Yes, you are still top of the FR Series Fantasy F1 League, and we are probably going to hear about that a lot.
You should all be ashamed of yourself that I'm at the top of that league. But yes.
The result last time out was an interesting one because it didn't really change a lot in the championship race. Ice Kid Man leads still, but it could have been so much better for him. He was out in the lead of the race. T-Keg was out. Hercules was out. Nordy was out. Homicep was out of the race. Ice Kid Man was in the lead by about 3 seconds with the second place car having a 3-second time penalty. And then he stuck it in the wall himself. And it's back to the status quo.
It is indeed. Status quo with one race down. T-Keg, probably the biggest winner out of that one, getting away with what was an early retirement there. So, still all to play for Hercules. T-Keg still in there to chase down Ice Kid Man.
Indeed. Well, we were saying it was between those three, but of course, with none of them scoring, Van Onbase picked up some good points, but of course did lose out on 10. He would have been on 68, but for that penalty. There's a bunch of drivers in and around the 58 to 48 point mark. Cookie with that win now moving up to 45 as well. But still, you would say that Ice Kid Man is the man to beat.
Or the kid to punish for those mistakes.
Indeed, yeah. So it's Suzuka. Now, having just finished the Division 6 race in Suzuka.
Which was very clean.
Which was about the most fun and the most stress I've ever had at the same time. The Constructors' Championship, by the way, looks like this, and Racing Point still out in the lead here in Division 5. And of course, in terms of the Teams' Championship, Red Bull have not been strong performers in this division. Racing Point have been. Williams, it is interesting to say, have a new driver today, which of course is in theory a disadvantage for them in terms of the Constructors' Championship, because when Ice Kid Man wins, as the sole Williams, he picks up a nice, healthy bunch of points for not having a teammate as well.
I mean, you're saying when Ice Kid wins, his new partner may be the one bringing the points home for Williams.
Indeed, yeah. So, as I was saying, Suzuka, this is a difficult racetrack. And the Division 6 race was something I might just on eyes on stalks almost when it started raining. But it's a good fun track as well. It's a real challenge.
It is. It's full of a lot of complicated sectors, including the first corner, followed by the S's, which is realistically the S curves all the way up Dunlop curve. You're very dangerous if you're trying to make an overtake there. If you're really looking at the real overtaking true positions, you're looking kind of coming out of corner 14 and 15 and then running through the starting grid into the first turn. Apart from that, drivers beware when overtaking.
Indeed, yeah. So, of course, we've got 4 races to go in this Division 5 season, and all of the races in the Division 5 count towards the championship. So there's no dropping results here. And that kind of... there's 4 races to go.
Is it not this and 2 more?
No, we've got this, we've got Hungary, we've got Canada, and we've got Great Britain to finish the season. So it's all to play for.
Attention.
It's all to play for. You would still say that Ice Kid Man is the favourite, but around this track, certainly, anything can happen.
Indeed. I don't know what it is with Ice Kid Man. He seems to very often drive the difficult races well and then almost seems to forget what he's doing for a while and goes into a wall. Like in the nicest possible way. It's like he has these... We're not saying he's narcoleptic and he just falls asleep at the wheel, but he has these moments of erratic behaviour.
It was a costly mistake, and I think we saw... Because that race last time out has almost gone down as like one of the most famous, infamous races, I guess, in FRS history, which is good. We like to put on a show here in Division 5, and we are happy to bring you that show as well. And with what looks like 17 cars on the grid this evening, I'm hoping for another show.
Indeed. The real big miss for those looking is Hummersep, who is in the chat. Hummersep has explosive diarrhea at the moment and hence can't drive today.
Unconfirmed medical reports there from Nugget, who I don't remember appointing as a doctor.
Honestly, explosive diarrhea is what I heard, and I could hear it from here in Scotland, so that's why Hummersep's missed out.
The best advice I could give Hummersep is get in there. He cast the Division 6 race. Anything can happen around here.
Yes, exactly. I don't think anybody... Dan Gilligan's partner... Oh, no, Candice as well. I'm just trying to see if anybody else was missing, but I don't think there is, apart from Hummersep.
So we're missing... We've got both the Red Bulls. We've got both the Alpha Tauris. We'll look at all this in a second, don't you worry. But we are excited to get this one underway. They're just finishing up their practice laps now.
Indeed.
Am I going to ask you already to pick I'm going to ask you to pick someone for pole position today.
Pole position. So I'm going to go with Canurdi, who's been devilishly fast in the last couple of races, qualifying second, third at times. So I'm going Canurdi pole. What about yourself?
Oh, if I'm being boring, Ice Kid Man's been on pole the last two races, and he has poles at 50% of the tracks here in Division 5, so it's difficult to bet against him. But on the basis that I feel like I have to, Gilligan is going to do it today, I reckon.
Gilligan. My question was, how many laps do you think Gilligan's going to get before he gets yeeted off this time?
It's a very good question.
More or less than 2 being the average.
So they're just finishing up the practice session. What that gives us a chance to do now, as always, is take a look at the circuit guide here in Suzuka for a bit of a... We've already had a bit of a look around the track here. It's a lovely circuit. It's a very nice day here. Hopefully, as far as the drivers are concerned, it stays that way going forward. But this is your circuit here in Japan. We've got 18 turns, and all of them are difficult. This 101 that disadvantages those on the controller generally. We've got one DRS zone that doesn't really lend itself too much to overtaking, if we're honest. But yeah, it is all to play for here in Division 5.
Indeed. As you were saying, yes. The DRS just coming out of turn 18 into turn 1. Not the greatest length of DRS, not the greatest position for it, but we'll see how everybody decides to get on. Sun is out in Suzuka at the moment, at least, so we'll see how they go. A few of the last qualifications have been marred by some dodgy rain, which has meant a few cars have got out and set good times, but it looks like one of the racing points has decided to get out nice and early here.
Indeed. Well, my weather forecasters are telling me that this one is due to be dry all the way through qualifying. We're expecting bright sunshine. All the way through the race, we're expecting bright sunshine as well. Now, I'm not in the best of moods with the Japanese weather forecasters after what we saw in the Division 6 race, where it told me no rain, and then it rained.
Well, you just need to get yourself a better Jeff.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
Indeed. So it will be lovely weather, it must be said. Not a cloud, dark cloud in the sky. We will hopefully see. How fast are we reckoning we're going to see? Sub 126s?
Well, pole in Division 6 was a 26, so I reckon you're looking at a mid-26 as the outright pace here. In terms of drivers who've been on pole here, in this season, I should say, Ice Kid Man has 3 of the last 4, actually. That second part of the season between Mexico and Belgium, very much dominated, certainly in qualifying trim, by the Williams driver, who'll be looking to repeat the feat again today.
Indeed, but right behind him, T-Keg has been putting out some solid times, as has Canurdi. So we'll see if these guys can step up their game just a bit more. Sadly, Mahoney will be the lonesome driver there without his partner Hummerset. We'll see how he gets on.
So, well, I think from my perspective, the most confusing thing about Suzuka is this track map where it's got a crossover in the middle, right? So it's not the easiest thing in the world to work out what's going on when it comes down to who's where on the circuit.
Indeed, and as I had to be reminded, it's not an open crossroad. They go over and under each other.
Yeah, no, it is a bridge. I will confirm that it is a bridge. Just got to make sure that Nugget's aware of that sort of thing. So Hercules is the first car on the circuit here, and we'll see what he can do. He struggled in qualifying in Belgium compared to his championship rivals. So he'll be hoping to go a bit better today. You see the S's there. So very difficult to get that right.
Definitely. And it's one of those sections of corner, once you go into it wrong slightly, you're catching up the whole way through.
There's the hairpin. Now the back part of the circuit is nice and quick. And we'll keep these drivers on their toes, that is for sure.
Indeed. Hercules, somebody we do know, does have a lot of pace, except when he's asked to be put on hard tyres, where he's got absolutely zero pace.
He'll be the first to come round to complete a lap of this Suzuka circuit.
And the purple sector through the second section here. Just enough space between him and the people on their out lap to make sure that he's...
Oh, we got a McLaren off the road at turn 3. We're going to interrupt this because Nordy is in the gravel trap and facing the wrong way. And Nugget, that was your pick for pole position, was it not?
There's plenty of time left, okay? Canurdi's got plenty of time left. As Hercules came through with a 127.3 and Dan Gilligan and Arif following up with 128. And Ferron setting a good marker there as well.
Ice Kid Man goes quickest on a 27.2.
1/10 faster than Hercules, so it will be interesting to see how that works out. We've got an AlphaTauri off the track as well. It's either Cookie or Jock, and it's Jock in the sand.
It looks like he's just keeping out of the way of people on faster laps. So hopefully that means that Jock James is going to recover the circuit and have another go. I think pretty much everybody. T-Keg's on a lap at the moment, closely followed by Van on base. I'll get the lap timer on for you there. Apologies for not having our Rolex sponsorship in the top right corner of the screen.
Indeed. You just hope Jock doesn't follow that stereotype of sunny weather and sand and it all going to pot being a Jock.
You're allowed to say that. I'm not sure I would be. So we've currently got Dukes P3, who qualified at the back in his other Division 5 race in Austria, but much better showing this time around so far from the Red Bull driver, but that is now P4. And look at that, the championship rivals, 1, 2 and 3.
Indeed, Cookie throwing up a 127.8 as well, so it's going to be interesting to see who could sneak a bit extra pace out of here. See, do we have anybody on a lap?
Well, Jock James was on a lap, but did stick it in the gravel trap, so is no longer on a lap. And I think Karna is about to start a lap now for Renault. So we can take a look at Karna, who we should congratulate. Karna again, scored their first point of the season in Belgium.
Now, we're going to say nothing about the fact that that was the first race that I've missed, and it being the first race that Karna scored points, okay? However, he did say to me in private messages after the race that he felt that he was going to do just as well here, and that should immediately curse him. So, Karna out turn 1 is my prediction.
Well, he's on the go, and he's out of the session there. Look at that.
No!
As his wheel steadily rolls away across the circuit, the Nugget curse returns.
You couldn't plan that. Nobody, right, chat. Nobody tell Kana, okay? And nobody clip that.
Get that clipped. That's all I'm going to say on the matter. Get that clipped.
Nobody tell Kana, right? Otherwise, I'll come and join all your other races and curse you.
So unfortunately for Kana, that does mean that he will start at the back in this race. But Division 5, delivering already.
Yeah. It's good to be back at least. T-Keg not on a fast lap here. We'll see if he does go into the pit lane or if he's going into the pit lanes here. So,
One of the best qualifiers this season. T-Keg second best in general. Ice Kid Man, of course, with all the pole positions, has the best average grid position of anyone in the division. Cookie finally got his rewards for a strong qualifying last time, ironically enough, in the race that he qualified right at the back. So Cookie continuing to be the great enigma of this division, and the great remover of front wings as well.
Yes. And I think we've got Arif at the moment, only one on and out lap.
Both the McLarens. Yeah, we've got both the McLarens. We've got what I think is Jock James, I think Arif is the furthest around the circuit on the second run. Generally, in the qualifying session, you'll get 3 opportunities to set the best time, and as we say, the championship, as we think, is going to be between Ice Kid Man, Hercules, and T-Keg, and right now, those 3 are 1, 2, and 3 on the grid.
Indeed, and big shout out to Dukes, who I felt maybe struggled a bit with nerves in Monza, his first race in Division 5, coming out with a very strong qualification time here.
Yeah, he's in P5 at the moment. Hopefully, from Dukes' point of view, it stays that way. Ferron, the other newbie, is in P10 at the moment. Ferron making his debut for Williams this weekend, and it's only the second time all season that we've had a second Williams competing in a Division 5 race, which is Dennis the Great back in Monza, but he has not been able to make any other races this season. So we wish Ferron the best of luck. Demoting down from Division 3 makes the jump to Division 5, and really, is there any other place you would rather be?
No. Now, Arif is in a bit of trouble here because there are some back markers, so we'll hope that they get out the way nice and early for him to make sure that he doesn't have any difficulties with his qualifying time. Evil's still doing very well and so that's always good to see.
Yeah, you'd hate your teammate to get in the way, wouldn't you?
I don't know about that. Some teammates may have other ideas.
So nice and clean through the spoon curve at the top of the hill, and now it's all the way back down across the crossover to the flat out 130R, and we'll look at this on board from a reef. Hopefully that traffic's going to keep well out the way. It is. Do not even consider lifting. It's flat out through there. And we got Ice Kid Man warming his tyres just about. Keeps out the way there as a reef comes barreling into the last chicane. Out of the final corner now and across the line to set a 1:28.5, which is P9. Doesn't actually improve.
Close though.
Hercules appears to have invalidated this lap as well, so no opportunity there as the Alpha Tauris currently giving each other a tow down the back straight. Jock James yet to set a time. We've got a Renault off, which I think is still... Is that Dan Gilligan off now? But both the Renaults crashed at the same corner.
We do have Dan Gilligan facing a wall and waiting, it appears, to reverse.
You can see, if you look in the background, Connor's wheel is still just sat there by the side of the circuit.
It is. It's just lying in the middle of the circuit.
So the Dunlop curve being swiftly renamed the Renault curve at this point in the session.
Indeed. And Dan Gilligan just making sure cars coming behind him get through with no problems. Dan Gilligan and Canna do have the difficulties coming to finish races or laps.
Oh, Nordy has gone P3 for McLaren. Look at that. The McLaren driver back in contention. Mahoney improves to P5 for
very good.
Mercedes, and October 4th has improved, I think, to P10. We'll go back to Ice Kid Man, who is improving again.
Yes, 2/10 up on his fastest time already. So could sneak that 1:26.
Drifting out of the final corner, the final chicane there. Across the line, Ice Kid Man, it is a 27.0 to improve by just over 0.2 of a second. Ice Kid Man now laying down the gauntlet here for the competition once again. See what TK can do But TK's up by 4/10. He would need to find more time in the final sector, but this looking like a good lap for the Ferrari driver as we come up to the spoon curve. Nice and smooth through here. You got to wait and then get on the power. All the way down the back straight. It's not officially straight, but it is, trust me. Down towards 130R. Flat out left-hander here. And then it's as late on the brakes as you dare for the final right-left chicane. It's easy to get a snap of oversteer coming out of the left here, and you've got to get right over to the right-hand side here for the shortest route to the line. T-Keg goes, oh, he goes fastest by 0.004 of a second. What a lap from the Ferrari driver and his teammate Van on base. Going into P3. Forza Ferrari at this stage of the session. Now, I do have concerns that I may have lost my co-caster. Because Discord is absolutely acting up here this evening. I'm hoping you guys can still hear me. But Discord is not behaving itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Nugget with a Steam voice call. Because I can't, unfortunately, get anything done through Discord. So hopefully you get that instead. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can. Good.
Right.
Excellent. So Discord was misbehaving. There was nothing I could do about it. We've had to just bid off the idea of using Discord for voice. Apologies for all the pause menus here. But thankfully, Nugget is back.
I am back.
Thankfully? I guess
back in the saddle again. And ready to curse. So we have a few T-Keg with that monster lap. As I don't think anybody heard me saying as he pulled it off. It's fantastic to see.
Yeah, I mean, look at that from the two Ferraris now.
Oh.
1 and 3, 4,000. So now you're asking the question of Ice Kid Man. It is so difficult to go and find 0.005 of a second. How do you do that? I don't know why I'm asking you.
I know. Maybe put a bit of wax on the front of your helmet. You know, get a bit more aerodynamic. Wax up the old helmet. Always pays off, I hear.
Arif starting a hot lap now. So we can take a look on board with the Haas driver as he comes into turn 1.
Facing the wrong way. Is that Ferron? Is facing the wrong... You had a Williams facing the wrong way, which I believe was Ferron.
Okay, so he has recovered at least. And Arif's off the circuit and into the wall. And the Zord on board lap curse continues as well.
Excellent to see. I'm not the only one here, folks, pulling that. Oh.
I can't do a lap on board with someone without them hitting the wall.
Right, so let's jump on board with Canurdi then, yeah? Who's in the pit lane at least.
I think Oktoberfest will be the first driver around to start another lap in the session. We've got about 3.5 minutes to go, so realistically, you've got time for one more run now. So Oktoberfest going quite early. You can afford to wait at least another minute before starting your out lap. But Oktoberfest now beginning his quick lap. I suppose this means that if he does stuff this up, he can maybe get out of it, charge the ears back up, and have a second go.
Indeed, indeed.
Here comes Oktoberfest, who is in the top 10 at the moment. My pick for pole position, Dan Gilligan, has a lot of work to do from P11 as it stands.
I would say mainly getting through Renault Corner would be a good start for him.
Oh, Oktoberfest is off in Renault Corner. Another one bites the dust. Well, as I was saying, you could have bought that lap and you've got time to have another go, but you can see just how difficult it is.
Wow. I mean, especially when you've got us two watching as well. Who have we got?
So we're looking at Ferron. Ferron's come through on a fast lap now. The debutant here in Division 5. He's moved down from Division 3, as we said. Here, and I daren't go on board with him, but I'm going to do it. Coming up to the spoon curve. Little bit wide, missed the apex there, but it's probably not going to cost him too much time. It'll be towards the end of this straight where we'll see his time for Sector 2. Currently 1.3 seconds off the ultimate pace. He is slightly up on his personal best here. He'll need a mighty final sector to be able to improve massively on his position. Into the final chicane comes the Williams for what will be his final time in this session, I imagine. And Not keeping all the way to the right-hand side. Ferron across the line and improved slightly up to P12.
Indeed, Johnson. Hartley's coming through, 0.3 up on his fastest lap.
Well, this is right in the ballpark.
It would either, he needs a bit more pace to get into second. This would put him third at the moment, hugging that wall as he comes through.
He goes P3. It's so close. The top three in the championship are all within a tenth of a second here. Ice Kid Man is improving. In the first sector, he's up by a tenth and a half.
Which would put him miles ahead of everybody else. Back marker just in front of him. Let's hope they do clear the space nicely. It is Mahoney who does just that.
Here comes Ice Kid Man, looking to take his third straight pole position here in Division 5. He caught the grass a little bit when he hit the curb on the brakes into the final chicane. The Williams driver keeps it nice and clean through there, sticks hard to the right-hand side, and Ice Kid Man takes pole by nearly 3 tenths.
A monster lap, that. A monster lap. I feel
T-Cake,
every time.
It is all down to you in terms of the championship, but we've got Nordy on a lap as well in the first part. Van on base now is improving as well. Jock James has hit the wall somewhere, or maybe coming to the pits and retired. Cookie has retired as well, so the Alpha Tauris will do no more. Van on base is in the fight up at the front, and he's hitting the grass a bit as he comes down the straight. That will cost him time.
Van on base at this pace would put him in second position, just ahead of T-Keg in a sub 127. So we'll see if that grass clip has cost him.
Out of the final corner now for Van on base, and across the line, it's a 27-0. It's P3. He goes ahead of Hercules. TK begins his lap just up the road.
Canurdi all over the place coming out of Renault corner and has not going to complete another fastest lap, so that'll be Canurdi in fifth at best.
Dan Gilligan has gone sixth fastest. It won't be good enough for pole. Mahoney is on a lap as well, I believe, somewhere a bit further around the circuit. We can check in with the Mercedes driver now. He's not going to be quick enough to make it up to the front. So T-Keg is off. I can't believe I missed it. T-Keg is off the circuit.
That's okay. He set his time. That's all that you need. Big shout out, by the way, to OW_Elliot, who's rating us with a party of 14. Thank you, everybody, for coming and joining us here at your close of play Division 5 FRS Series race.
Roy Weller goes seventh. It was a good lap from him. Dukes is on a lap and he's improving by a couple of tenths as well, but he's invalidated. So that won't allow Dukes to improve, I think, unless Daft, who is 5.7 seconds down on this lap, produces something magnificent. Ice Kid Man will take his third straight pole position here in Division 5. That was a tremendously exciting session.
Yep. Excellent. And sadly predictable, Ice Kid Man. I say sadly predictable. It is a true testament to the pace that he has and the consistency bringing these pole positions out. The Ferraris, both of them, as try as they might, just couldn't get that extra bit of pace. Hercules and Canurdi setting some good times as well. So, I mean, there's a second between basically what is second and 10th.
Yeah, look at that. Between fourth and fifth, you've got about half a second. So these top four in qualifying trim really in a league of their own here. But what an exciting session. And look where we've got the three championship contenders. And of course, Van on base, had he won last time, would have been the fourth championship contender.
Indeed. So it is going to be interesting to see how things set up here. Obviously, that first corner is always a tricky one, so we'll see what happens once we're done with qualification here.
Remember, folks, it's now time to put them all on the track at the same time.
Yes, let the mass cursing begin.
Watching Roy Weller return back, not to the pit lane. His car will continue round for the next 27 seconds or so. But all of the big guns are right at the top, as we said. Nobody kind of out of position, actually, in terms of what you would expect in this field. But can they keep it clean?
I would agree with that, yeah. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Cookie, after last week's performance, you might have hoped would do a bit better. Dukes, big showing, big improvement. He was struggling around the back of the pack last race, so good to see an improvement and a bit more confidence coming about Dukes there. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this all happens.
Ice Kid Man takes pole from T-Keg, Van on base, Hercules and Nordy here in Division 5. Suzuka, the race is coming up for you very, very shortly indeed. Don't go anywhere. Or maybe do. Grab a drink. Maybe a beer.
Yes, because it will be eventful. President Johnson will make no comment on that.
So, we expect this to be a one-stop strategy. We expect it to be nice and bright all the way through. We're not expecting
Do we also expect... I was going to say, do we also expect several safety cars knowing Division 5's history?
Anything can happen. And in Division 5, to quote...
It usually does.
Yeah, to quote the great Murray Walker, it usually does.
Indeed. Now, Division 5 seems to... We say it can't be this bad again. They can't do worse. They can't make it more entertaining. And yet they seem to do so. They find a way, Harringzord, to keep us entertained.
You know, there's a Jurassic Park quote, life finds a way.
Yeah, Division 5 finds a way. Come on, everybody. Hum with me at home.
I thought that was a Rebel meme, but we're transcending it. We're bringing it back.
Yeah, indeed. I just hoped everybody was at home humming along.
If you're just getting here, welcome along. It is time to go racing here in Suzuka in Division 5.
Yes. If you've just joined us, this isn't Jurassic Park in Wheels. This is Formula 1. And they all got away on the formation lap, which is a good start for Division 5.
Yes, it is rather. Yes, it is. So Ice Kid Man from T-Keg and Van on base at the front. Medium tyre runners, Oktoberfoth, Ferron, Arif and Jock James have gone to the medium tyre at the start of this race. Everybody else is on the soft compound red-walled tyre. As we take a look at the previous winners in this FR Series Division 5. Can Ice Kid Man do it again? He really should have done it in Belgium, shouldn't he?
Definitely. We'll see if he keeps that composure and that's a one-off mistake from him, or is it a bit of breaking of the ice, as it were? Is the Iceman beginning to melt?
Here it is in the drive for Division 5. Well, I didn't even have to update this graphic after the last race. It's still Ice Kid Man up at the front with 90 points. T-Keg on the right has 78, and Hercules in the centre has 71. It is all to play for between these three. We don't think anybody else is in contention, unless these three did exactly what they did last time out and stick it in the wall.
Indeed, you've got drivers like Mahoney creeping about there, Knurdy, Van on base. We'll see what happens.
64 viewers in here to watch this. I am somehow not surprised. Is there anywhere else you'd rather be at the end of an FRS weekend?
Not on a Sunday night, not when Division 5 is about. Division 5 is pure entertainment for the wrap-up of a Sunday.
Well, we've really talked them up. I hope they don't let us down now. Ice Kid Man is bringing the car. Of course, Ice Kid Man not in control of the car at this point, but he'll be bringing the car to line it up at the front of the grid. T-Keg will have the inside line going down towards turn 1. It's downhill. But of course, the first corner is absolutely flat out. And that tends to mean, you see the run down to turn 1 there from on board the Williams. But a flat out first corner tends to mean anything can happen.
And it usually does in Division 5.
It's lights out and away we go here in Suzuka. Ice Kid Man gets away well. Hercules with a bit of wheel spin there to allowing the McLaren of Nordy to come around the outside. But Ice Kid Man leads into turn 1. Nordy's wide and off the circuit. Roy Weller has started very well as well. Contact between the Red Bull. Mahoney's involved as well. Little bit of an incident there in the midfield, but it is generally quite clean. Duke's just getting crowded out a bit by Dan Gilligan. And now Mahoney's getting involved up at the front. Ice Kid Man has pulled out a massive gap over TKeg already. And the Williams driver leads away. Hercules, kind of the big loser of the front bunch. And Oktoberhoff has dropped all the way at the back with a damaged wing.
Nice, lots of chaos going into turn 1 and turn 2 there, but the main part of the pack seems to have got away. There's a yellow flag in sector 2.
I think Carter's involved.
A reef having spun.
Yep, a reef's facing the wrong way.
The 13th.
It's clean at the front, it's kicking off in the midfield. Maybe we're okay with that. Ice Kid Man leads from TKeg Van on base and the very, very quick starting Roy Weller, who has improved from 7th up into 4th place on this opening lap. The Ferrari's nose to tail.
Indeed, Roy Weller, one of those people that finishes quick but struggles to sustain that long journey.
So 1.5 seconds, the gap between Ice Kid Man and TKeg. TKeg maybe just settling into this race, and we will see what they do on strategy. We expect most of the drivers to go soft to the medium tyre here in this one. I think Roy Weller and Hercules are close together. Here comes the Racing Point down the inside into turn 1. Will he think better of it? He does. Doesn't want to lose a nose in there. Roy, oh, he does lose a nose. Hercules with contact on the back of the McLaren, and it's wing damage, and round goes Dan Gilligan in the background into the wall. Oh, it's an unsafe rejoin. He just about gets away with it.
Oh, he gets away with it.
Oh,
and there's cars going through, and Cookie probably dropping a few pounds there from that Dan Gilligan through drive.
So it's Hercules with damage under pressure from Nordy. Will Hercules feel the need to pit at this early stage of the race? Mahoney's getting involved as well, but that Racing Point is not handling well, and it is all kicking off behind him. Look at this.
Yes, indeed. There is 3-4 wide going into the hairpin.
Oh, we've got Jock James. Jock James has spun the car in the background there, you might have just saw. Meanwhile, it is all kicking off again in the midfield. Mahoney's dropped all the way down to P10 now.
Mahoney caught a bit of grass coming out of the hairpin, which caused him to lose some time, but they're so squashed up at the moment that it's just one mistake and there's 3 cars going past you.
Look at Ferron on the medium tyres, and side by side here, Nordy and Hercules. They come down to 130R. Nordy is through, and Hercules may need to pit here.
We'll see. Hercules must be praying that there's a safety car to help him here.
Hercules pits.
Is going into the pits. Now, it will be interesting. I expect him to see him coming into the hard tyres to go the full length of the race on them.
I think that's likely to be the case, yeah. He's going to go to the hard tyre, try and go the whole
5
distance.
seconds in the penalty. Dan Gilligan 5 seconds being in the pit lane. Duke's wide into turn 2, which is let Mahoney catch right up. And Evil Steel having a sniff about who'd spun! Evil Steel spun in the S! Will he come on safely? He's got back on the track though. Okay,
I was just looking at the Ferraris there, who are very, very close together. Van on base seems to have more pace than TKeg at this stage of the race. And TKeg, I don't know whether he feel obliged to let his teammate go here, because he's now 2 seconds behind the leader, Ice Kid Man.
The question is, though, if you let him go, you could possibly losing second place in the championship to your teammates. So, is there going to be driver's orders?
Well, I mean, the thing is, if you're going to lose points to Ice Kid Man, better finish 3rd to his 2nd than 2nd to his 1st. You'd only lose 3 points to him that way. If Ice Kid Man wins this race, the best you can do is lose 7. Look, as I said, Ferron now up to P6.
Ferron showing some very good pace on those medium tyres. The pack kind of settling at the moment. A few cars with some damage. Hercules, Canna, Dan Gilligan and Jock James all on one stop already for paying the front wing tax, as it were, for Division 5.
So Hercules will try and go to the end on those hard tyres. They can make it, but it's a long way to go. We will see what he can do, but again, he probably, like you said, will be wanting a safety car at some point in this race.
Yes, and now if you remember back in Bahrain, Hercules on hard tyres was slower than my granny in her Ford Escort, so we'll see if he does actually find some pace on that tyre this time round.
It's not the strategy we want to be on. TKeg is a little bit wide there as they come through what we've renamed the Renault curve after qualifying. But Ice Kid Man with a 2-second lead at the front, and TKeg kicking up a lot of dust in front of his teammate.
They're not making it easy, and also both obviously McLarens are running 4th and 5th for them, which is good so far. Both drivers in the points. But it is early, and we know that there is mistakes in both of them.
It's Division 5. I think it's not unreasonable to say there's potentially a mistake in everybody after Belgium.
Yes. Well, Racing Point, big losers at the moment. Oktoberfest and Hercules struggling here for positions, whereas the real big winners are definitely going to be the McLarens here.
Yeah, Ferrari looking strong as well. As much as Ice Kid Man's leading the race, Ferrari in second and third place, going very, very well indeed. Yeah, and they've actually gained half a second on this lap to Ice Kid Man. I don't know if there was a mistake there for the leader.
Ferrari's just ideally going to use themselves, hopefully with a bit of a DRS train to help catch themselves up to Ice Kid Man and also capitalise on any mistakes that we're going to see from him.
The two newbies, Dukes and Ferron, are fighting it out here as we look at them on board in the Red Bull driver now. And, well, from Ferron and Dukes' point of view, they're kind of here to see what all the fuss is about, but so far, they're having a nice clean run.
Indeed, Mahoney, of course, just sniffing about behind the pair of them, hoping to take any advantage that he can to get some extra positions.
The Racing Points have swapped places. Hercules is now ahead of Oktoberfest.
Duke's locking up hard into turn 9, which is going to hopefully give Mahoney an easy turn, but he's forcing Mahoney a bit wide. Bit of contact there, a bit of sneaky little pushing wide. Sees Mahoney catches back up and gets another chance to make a pass. Probably coming down into the overpass.
Yeah, so thankfully for Mahoney there was no wing damage there. I think there was a little bit of contact. Cookie has cleared Evil Steel meanwhile. And of course, as you would expect when it's all beginning to kick off at the start, this man, Daft, has steadily climbed up into the points. So it's Williams from the two Ferraris, from the two McLarens at this stage of the race, as it's actually settling down a bit.
Well, as it's settling down, we probably will see the soft tyre cars looking to pit probably in the next couple of laps to get onto those mediums, so the chaos will begin again.
I was going to say our audience are getting impatient for the shambles. Trust me, if you want it, just go and rewatch the Belgium race.
Yeah.
So it's now 1.6 seconds, 1.5 seconds, 1.4 seconds, 1.3 seconds. Ice Kid Man has clearly made a mistake again on this lap, and T-Keg has closed into about a second now.
Indeed, once he gets within that second, but he has pulled away from Van on base as a result as well. He's just sneaked under that 1 second gap, so he's going to hopefully be able to put some pressure on Ice Kid Man now, and we'll see if the Iceman cometh or if the Iceman melteth.
So it's about the 1 second window, isn't it? T-Keg running a little bit wide there. You've got to be careful on the track limits. It's not the worst track for track limits, this one. But that's actually worse, because if you do pick up a track limits penalty, it's kind of a bit more painful because other people are less likely to pick one up than, say, Mexico, where it's a track limits fiesta.
Indeed. That spoon curve is very deceiving. You've got to make sure that you're not going too wide there. The first turn is also a big section where you'll pick up some penalties if you don't get the braking right, and of course the Casio triangle where you could pick up some big time penalties if you get that wrong.
Fastest lap of the race from TK as he begins to charge down the leader. Don't think this race is done. Oktoberfest, I think, is struggling with wing damage and has lost out to Kana now towards the back of the field. Yeah, he's got heavy wing damage on that Racing Point. We'll need to pit to fix that. Dan Gilligan, the recovering Dan Gilligan at the back.
We're looking at some of the soft cars coming in at the pits now. Cookie, Evil Steel going onto those medium tyres. We'll see. It might be a bit early to be coming in on the softs, but we'll see how they get on.
Yeah, if you're going to go with the hard tyres, it's probably around now that you would do that. But realistically, if you want to go soft medium, which is very doable, hell, you can even do it in the rain. Ask Division 6. But you can get there on the soft medium. You'd want to be in around lap, certainly 8 to 10. 8 would be early. 10, I went as far as 10 and it was okay.
Yes, definitely. So, not loads of pace on those hard tyres. So it's interesting to see them coming in now with no real damage and then choosing to go into the hard tyres. So maybe they just feel a bit more comfortable on them. We'll see how it benefits them as the race goes on.
So Ice Kid Man comes out of the final corner to lead another lap, and he has now led the most laps of anybody in Division 5. He finally passed King Bart with those few laps he had in the lead in Belgium. Roy Weller is out! Roy Weller has retired at the final corner. He's lost the car coming out of the final corner, and Roy Weller is out of this race. This is the worst camera angle I could possibly have.
Just as chat were asking for shambles and a tame race, they get what they asked for.
It's a bit of a Timo Glock, I think. He's lost his wheel somewhere. I'll have a look on board from Hercules now, who's up to 11th position again. The car's disappeared at this stage. But Roy Weller retires, sorry. It didn't generate a safety car.
It did not indeed. So hopefully we will not have any issues with the Suzuki SC bug.
I was going to say he crashed in the danger zone there, didn't he?
I think just past the hairpin is avoiding the danger zone, we hope. But Ice Kid Man locking up into the hairpin, which might give T-Keg a chance to get under that 1 second.
So Van Base has just dropped back a little bit at this stage, but he's still certainly in play. Nordy at 6.4 seconds back is sort of not really in play with anyone, just having his own race at the moment. We've got a yellow flag and sector 2, and Van Base, as I say that, is facing the wrong way. Recovers to the circuit, and Nordy is suddenly P3 and having his own race.
There we go. Van Base potentially just pushing a bit too hard on these softs, not pitting. But I'll be interested to see if he does come into the pit lane now, or if he decides to stay out. Sector 2 again. Oh, Canody going way wide into the Casio triangle. That will cost him time.
Dan Gilligan has been facing the wrong way. So that's a pit stop for Nordy.
Yes, Canody in on the pits.
Dan Gilligan was facing the wrong way there. Difficult afternoon for him. So with Van Base's error, it's now, well, he's back into third place because of Nordy's pit stop. How much do we need to watch Ferron in this race? Who, remember, is the lead driver on this alternative strategy?
I'm saying Ferron is here to replace Ice Kid Man.
So what Ferron wants in this race, if you get a safety car around lap 16 or so, Ferron is going to be in a very, very strong position when he pits for the soft tyres and everybody else is on older mediums.
And definitely, that would be... Now, T-Keg 0.7 behind Ice Kid Man. Ice Kid Man clearly having a bit of trouble getting out a hairpin into 12. Coming up to the spoon curve. We'll see how close T-Keg can get here and can he make a pass.
It's lap 9, so this is the pit window for one of these two. If you're T-Keg, do you do the opposite of Ice Kid Man at this point? If he pits, stay out.
I'd make sure you know what Van Base is doing if you're T-Keg.
So here we come into the final chicane, and I would suspect at least one of them is going to pit now. T-Keg too late on the brakes there, and that will cost him some time. He very nearly ran at the back of Ice Kid Man. Neither of them pit.
Stay out.
Well, the undercut was available.
Ferron under a second on Van Base, who did lock up going into the Casio triangle as well. So if Van Base doesn't pit,
he does. Van Base does pit.
Came in. I imagine T-Keg will be in next lap then.
Medium tyres for the Ferrari. Also in the pits is Dukes for Red Bull. Dukes having a strong run here today. Goes to the medium tyre as well. And has to serve a penalty of some sort. He sat there for a long time. I'm not sure what that penalty was for, but it will have cost him. Meanwhile, the front two continue abound.
Yep, T-Keg now up into half a second of Ice Kid Man. So if he holds it smooth through here, which he does seem to get a better hairpin there. Yellow flag in sector 3.
I've managed to catch Cookie spinning off into the wall just while I was looking at him. So Cookie's in the wall, recovers to the circuit, didn't lose a front wing. That's the important thing.
Good stuff. If you want to cut to Ice Kid Man in first, we'll see if you can cuss some there as well.
It's close. Look at this. Half a second now. Splitting the top two. T-Keg, will he do this on the track? Surely he'll pit for the undercut this lap. But will Ice Kid Man also want the fresh boots this time around?
Yep, T-Keg choosing not to use any ERS here though, which was interesting. So I imagine he knows he's going to pit, so there's no real rush to take this spot.
Ice Kid Man pits, T-Keg also pits. It's a race between the pit crews. Get it slowed down. So strategically, this doesn't do a lot for T-Keg. T-Keg goes to the hard tyre.
That is a bold shot.
I don't know how much I like that decision. Ice Kid
Man goes to mediums.
He goes to mediums. TK coming now.
Front of TK.
Will he be held? No. Ice Kid Man is released.
Oh.
Ferron takes the lead. TK to the hard tyre. Ice Kid Man to the mediums. And Daft also pits for Haas just behind. Arif continuing on the alternate strategy. Not convinced by this shout from TK to go to the hard tyres. Yellow flag sector 1 is a Renault off at the Renault curve. It is Dan Gilligan.
We will see. These tyres will be cold, so we'll see how Ice Kid Man and TK hold them together.
Oh, look at the gap. 2 seconds.
A huge gap. I'm very questionable on that choice to go to hard tyres from TK, I must say.
Soft hard would have been a good undercut strategy to get the track position, but pitting on the same lap, hards is not the way to go. So it's happened before the TK this season. I would suggest it is a Jeff issue as much as anything. Meanwhile, back in the points, Hercules. On much older tyres, and does kind of need to go to the end of this race. If there was a safety car, it might allow Hercules to go to some soft tyres and try to attack people later on in the race. But for the time being, he's back up at the 7th place and will hope to just sit there and hold that sort of position after losing that wing in the early part of this race.
Indeed, he will be wanting to make up as much time and as many points as he can to keep Ice Kid Man in his sights in the championship leaderboard. Dan Gilligan, 3-second penalty for multiple warnings as well. It's not his day at all.
No, it is going from bad to worse to whatever's worse than worse for Dan Gilligan. As we
It's not got to kind of stages at least.
It's fastest lap of the race. Ball. It was... God, who was it? I can't remember. I can check. It was literally just there on my screen. But it's entirely slipped my mind. Nordy, that's who it was. Come on, Zord, we're better than this. So to Williams, 1-2. As Ferron continues to lead. Now, how much does Ferron want a safety car now? If we look in terms of total gaps, where is Ferron going to feed back out? He'd be aiming to be out ahead of Mahoney, I think.
Yes.
And then you're trying to go as aggressive as you possibly... He would definitely be out ahead of Dukes. I think Mahoney is the one he would hope to be out ahead of. It's quite a short pit lane here in Japan, I think. So he could then go on the attack, but obviously that would be way too much time to make up in terms of trying to win the race. But the safety car is what would bring him massively into play.
Yes, indeed. Arif as well, multiple warnings picking up a penalty there, which was caught at Spoon Curve.
Ice Kid Man, fastest lap of the race, and now 2.8 seconds ahead of T-Keg. Really putting the hammer down on these fresh mediums now.
Yep, and Hercules piling the pressure on Van on base as well. He did have a bit of a wobble coming into the first straight there. It was down to half a second. But Hercules finding some pace on these hard tyres.
He's dropped back a little bit here with that error, but of course the hard tyres will go a long way. They won't be as fresh as the medium tyres of the car ahead, but he won't be that much slower across the stint. It's got some life in them, and they should go to the end of the race, I think, without too much trouble.
Indeed. So it will be interesting if we do get safety car, how everybody will decide what they want to do. Ferron, of course, still leading this race. Him and Arif, the only two cars not pitted so far.
So Reef very much holding up Van on base, who was much further up the field, wasn't he, until he made that mistake at the exit of the Spoon curve. Dropped him back behind Nordy. And he's losing out behind Arif. Nordy had cleared the Haas quickly. Van on base really struggling to do so, and Nordy is now 3.5 seconds up the road.
Showing some very good pace here, especially after his incident in qualifying. See if he's able to put that out lap on lap. And we've got Ferron coming into the pits here.
Ferron pit, that's early. That feels early. Here's Van on base up against the Reef. Playing it safe, a Reef covering the inside well. Good defence from the Haas driver. And Van on base, we'll see what he can do down the main straight with overtake. And DRS will stay on board with the Ferraris right up behind the rear wing of Arif now. It'll be brave to go into here. Arif's on the grass. Coming out of the pit lane is, I think, the lap. Oktoberfest, Van on base down the inside. He's sort of there. And he's sort of through. And following him through is Hercules in the background. Hercules making that move stick as well. Arif loses out 2 positions. And Ferron does get out just ahead of Mahoney. Half a second, did it?
Ferron decided to go into the hard tyres.
Medium hard.
13 laps is not what I would have potentially hoped he'd stay out longer on the mediums. So Mahoney, you would hope, would have with the fresher tyres, you know, with them warmed up, will get past Ferron hopefully quite quickly.
If there's a safety car in the next few laps, Ferron is going to be kicking himself because he's potentially given up a massive opportunity. Oh, Hercules has spun into the wall, and Arif has followed him into the same wall.
No safety car as of
It is
yet.
the safety car. Safety car deployed.
Safety car now. Crazy time, folks. This is where it all goes nuts. We have to try and keep track with it.
Well, Hercules will need to pit, and the safety car will give him the chance to pit for some fresher tyres. But it's a safety car. And honestly, if you're T-Keg, do you pit for mediums?
I think you do.
He's going to pit. T-Keg pits.
Yes.
It's the right call. He won't have any fresh soft tyres, but he can pit for mediums here. The Ferrari mechanics are out in a hurry. Now, Nordy goes through.
The other Ferrari's coming in. Van on base is coming in as well.
Van on base is in.
Done this very
Van on
well.
base is in for the softs. He will be held, though, surely.
No.
No, he will. He'll take a bit of a time penalty. Loads of cars pitting now.
Perfect gap. Perfect gap between the racing points.
Well, Ferron is third, but he's on the hard tyres when he could have been on the soft tyres had we gone a few laps longer.
Indeed. And Mahoney, 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane from Mahoney. That's a tough one to take.
It's all happening in the pit lane. Mahoney's being held stationary for the time being.
Indeed.
So we'll see Evil Steel and Dukes seem to have moved up into the points on the back of this. Van on base on fresh softs. He's going to have to do about 10 laps on them, but that's doable. Will they be fresh softs?
That is the question. I mean, we're talking 12 laps. They're going to be pushing.
Well,
it
2 of them are behind the
maximum.
safety car, right?
Well, we'll see how long that safety car stays out for.
So it was the hairpin. There was a double incident. Both Hercules and Arif. Arif spinning in sympathy when he saw Hercules go off. And Nice Kid Man, suddenly that massive lead he'd built up. Nordy is on slightly older hard tyres. Medium tyres, sorry. Ferron is on fresh hard tyres. I just feel for Ferron that he's just missed a trick here.
Even if he went on a medium, should be looking at a great race for the 3 of them if he went on a medium.
Well, he couldn't go to the mediums, of course, because he started on them,
Started on medium. He started on the mediums, and he could have pushed them a lot further than the 13 laps that he gave them.
So Hercules, after all said and done, is now on medium tyres and is still in the points-paying positions.
Indeed.
With the 3 cars ahead of him on hard tyres. So Hercules is still sort of alive and kicking, but it's been a very messy race, and would you believe it, T-Keg is 4th.
Keg is 4th, and Daft is still sneaking about the points in 7th.
When it all kicks off, Daft will appear in the points, I guarantee it. Now, guys, let's keep it clean behind the safety car.
Indeed.
We've got the lapped car of Oktoberfest knocking around in the middle there.
It's a bit of a distraction. We have seen cars struggle with these flashing cars, these see-through cars in front of them.
I don't like this at all. I don't like what Oktoberfest... And I assume he's getting mixed messages from the game. But Oktoberfest is causing all sorts of hassle here. Now tries to overtake the safety car on the grass. I prefer that scenario. I prefer the scenario where he just goes past, and because Oktoberfest is miles out of contention here. And we don't want him spoiling the race up at the front.
Not that, yes. If the game's telling him to stay there and he's went past, that's the right thing to do.
Even if he was disqualified, I think that would sort of be the noble thing to do there.
Yeah.
Just to ensure that he doesn't affect the race up at the front. So well done there, Oktoberhof, taking the initiative on that one.
Indeed, indeed. Also, it gives him a chance to try and catch back up to Dan Gilligan and stuff. You know, he is on soft tyres. You know, if he can get around fast enough, he can still get a couple of places.
I mean, I feel like Oktoberhof has gone through his entire selection of available Pirelli tyres.
How long till the guys, the mechanics are taking their own tyres off to give him a set?
Yeah, but we expect this to be a long safety car.
Indeed, and we will have to see how Ice Kid Man handles this. Canurdi obviously lying in second place, ready to pounce. Ferron third, followed by the two Ferraris.
Both Ferraris on the fresh tyres.
Yep.
If they can clear... Well, of course, Ferron's on fresh tyres as well, but they're the worst fresh tyres to be on. But if they can clear Ferron...
Yep.
They're right in play, the Ferrari drivers.
Also, unfortunately, Van on Base is the one on the softs behind T-Keg on the mediums. So you're hoping that Van on Base gets released nice and early to hunt down Ice Kid Man. A
reminder of the situation in the championship. It looks like this. Ice Kid Man has 90 points with 4 races to go, and they all count in Division 5. T-Keg has 78 points. He's second in the Ferrari. And Hercules, who is recovering again in this race, is P10 at the moment. He has 71, so that would possibly drop Hercules quite a way behind if Ice Kid Man was to win this race. And currently Hercules only scoring the 1 point in this one. But there's still 10 laps to go.
Yeah. And they are, if you look at this middle bunch from 6th to 11th, they are so tightly packed up already. And we know Division 5 has history for, let's say, having a little shunt at each other behind safety cars.
Yes. So, Ferron, P3, on his Division 5 debut, has played his way here on the alternative strategy, but as we've said, if he was on the soft tyres right now, I'd be backing him to win this race. But it's the hard tyres, so we'll have to make do with what we've got, because we can't really pit now. But he's sort of the wild card who has nothing to lose here. But similarly, he was in it. I sort of said earlier on that Ice Kid Man had been picking up a lot of points for Williams, winning races, finishing towards the top, and then when you're the sole Williams in a race, or the sole driver for any team in a race, you'll get additional points as per the position behind you to make up for the fact that you don't have a teammate. So while Ice Kid Man's been winning, Williams have been racking in a few second place finishes as well, if I understand how that works correctly, but I could be wrong.
I was under the illusion that he gets half a point extra for each point.
Safety car in this lap.
Oh, here we go. So we'll see how, obviously, Ferron in a prime spot there.
Well, to finish my point, Ferron is performing well in terms of Williams' thing, but I'll come back to you on that once we've done the safety car restart.
The safety car chaos.
Are you ready? Ice Kid Man. Is there plenty? Oh, there's a collision.
A rave. Division 5 cannot go as
Ice Kid Man has gone. Nordy has not gone very quickly, and Ferron is right behind him here. The race is green again, and Ferron is right up behind Nordy as they come down towards turn 1. Ice Kid Man leads them away, and he's got the jump massively. Ferron looking into turn 1, not getting the move done, but Nordy's wide, and Nordy picks up a time penalty for that for multiple warnings. It's a Williams 1-2. And both Ferraris have got past Nordy as well. So it's Williams 1-2, Ferrari 3-4. Is this 1997?
Well, hopefully, because then Mark Webber would have been driving and I know what I'm talking about.
Ice Kid Man, 2.4 seconds clear. He has bolted on this safety car restart. And his teammate is in a position to do a wonderful job on rear gunner now. He can hold, the longer he can hold the Ferraris up, the better this is for Ice Kid Man, because the freshness of those tyres will go. Hercules now coming through the field. It's up against Evil Steel. There's contact between the pair. Once again, as there was in Belgium.
Oof. There's contact. Evil Steel acting as the Starship Enterprise, looking for contact wherever they can find it.
Hercules is through and has got that move done. Up at the front, Ferron has got T-Keg right behind him now, and they're going to go side by side as we come towards Eau Rouge. T-Keg on the inside in the Ferrari. Close your eyes, hold your breath. T-Keg is through into second position.
And Dan Gilligan is out. It doesn't look like an incident. It looks that it may be connection issues, so we'll hopefully see him back soon.
In the midfield, Hercules is up into 8th place. Nordy, of course, has that time penalty now and pressure from the Red Bull of Dukes. Those medium tyres of 9 laps and 8 laps old, respectively. A few of them were behind the safety car, of course. Yellow flag and sector 1. Van on base has gone off the circuit in turn 1.
And Mahoney has snuck into 10th place. Canna picking up 3 seconds for multiple instances. Mahoney snuck into 10th there, looking to chase down. Big loss of positions from Van on base there, though.
Van on base doesn't have any wing damage, but it has allowed Hercules through. And Ice Kid Man!
Oh!
Ice Kid Man picks up a time penalty, 3 seconds.
That is definitely from the whatever the curve is from turn 8. That's like
Degner. Yeah, she's gone wide at Degner 1. And, well, it's a different ball game now. T-Keg, if he can stay within 3 seconds, will win this race. This is what we wanted. The spice is back.
Us again. Indeed. Although T-Keg is just a bit behind, you would hope he'd have the pace to catch him back up on the slightly fresher mediums the longer this race goes on. Canurdi holding into 4th place. Dukes with a phenomenal drive after his introduction last race. Hopefully keeps this position and does very well.
And look who's appeared in 6th position again when it all kicked off. Hercules down the inside, very late on the brakes, and makes the move on Daft, who kept that nice and clean. Ice Kid Man with the fastest lap of the race, but Hercules putting together a phenomenal recovery drive here, and the track limits penalties are coming thick and fast now. In the background, Van on base.
Van on base making that inside pass on Daft. Can he keep the pace through into Hercules as well?
Mahoney getting past
Evil Steel though. Yep.
Oh, and T-Keg has made a mistake and is now outside 3 seconds of Ice Kid Man. So T-Keg has it all to do to catch up that time again. He's lost a second somewhere. So it sits at 3.1 seconds. We're on lap 20. We've got 6.5 laps to go of this Japanese Grand Prix.
6.5 laps of chaos, excitement, and chaos.
2.8 now the gap. T-Keg has clawed back some of the time. Ferron is on for a podium on his Division 5 debut. It's a 1-3 for Williams as it stands. Nordy is 4th. This man Dukes is in 5th place and going very, very well indeed with the bright pink helmet. Got championship contender Hercules behind him on fresher medium tyres. So Hercules might come into play there at the end. And Van on base is really not taking advantage of the fresh softs at all.
Definitely not. After that runoff in the S-curves, it's struggling to kind of get the pace back in those softs.
The gap at the front back to 3.1 seconds. T-Keg needs to produce a couple of excellent laps to try and take about maybe 6 or 7 tenths off this, so that he's got a bit more margin to play with, because right now Ice Kid Man has built the gap and it's now edging towards 3.5 seconds.
Mahoney way to just slip through Daft here at turn 1 again. Mahoney, if only he didn't pick up these penalties. Mahoney on a great recovery drive after the issues that he had earlier on.
Hercules is right up behind Dukes. I think the Red Bulls made a mistake somewhere, and Hercules is sniffing around as they come through the Renault curve, as we renamed it after qualifying. Hercules has got to keep his nose clean. Just up the road, Nordy is right behind Ferron, who seems to be struggling on the hard tyres. Ice Kid Man, T-Keg, Ferron, Nordy, your top 4. And look at the gap at the front. T-Keg is really struggling to match Ice Kid Man's outright pace. The 3-second penalty not mattering at this stage.
Well, but we will see how those tyres do come into play. Ice Kid Man on slightly older tyres, if you'll be able to keep the speed in them.
Hercules has passed Dukes.
Got past Dukes, yeah.
Into 130R, and T-Keg, I think, made a bit of a mistake there. Kicked up a little bit of dust. To Nordy just ahead in the McLaren.
Oh, and Dukes has spawned coming up the Casio Triangle. Does not look like it'll bring out a safety car, but he is going to struggle to get back on safely, or just drives on the track anyway.
Oh, he was ghosted, so we got away with it. But Dukes recovers in P14. It all goes wrong for the Red Bull, and he'll have to work his way back through to the points now. Evil stealing the points again in P9. Arif and Jock James fighting in the background over the last points paying position. Remember, there's still time for anything to happen. If there was a safety car, T-Keg's in the box seat, because it would wipe out the 4-second advantage that Ice Kid Man has. But
Almost asking you shall receive these days, Mr. Zord, with you.
I mean, look at the gap between the front two and everybody else. Ferron, very much the cork in the bottle now. Both Nordy and Hercules. Hercules can sniff a podium here.
Indeed, especially with that time penalty sitting on Canurdi.
So, if Hercules can get past both of these cars, or even if both of them clear Ferron, the Racing Point is suddenly looking at stealing a podium, having had to make the extra pit stop for a wing change on the first lap.
Indeed, came from basically last to third if he steals it. Cookie getting past Arif, going into 11th. Just outright power on the 137R.
Oh, Evil Steel side by side with Daphne 130R. That felt brave. Oh, and Evil Steel now round the outside of Daft. What a move there.
Good fighting there. Daft will get the DRS though, going down into turn 1.
Nordy is through. Nordy has passed Ferron for third place as they go down into turn 1.
Daft is retaking that position on Evil Steel, and Cookie. Jock James looking to have a sniff but pulls out.
I thought better of it. Look at this race between this lot. Kana's involved as well now for Renault.
Oh, Evil Steel having a bit of a slide during the S's. Going up into Renault corner.
It's difficult, this section. It's even more difficult when there's cars all around you and there's a mistake there again from Evil Steel. The AlphaTauri's treating that Red Bull like the back of a donkey.
You do not want to go anywhere near it.
Hercules now needs to clear Ferron. He can get that podium if he can clear this Williams quickly. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2.
Yellow flag in sector 2.
That's Dukes.
The other Red Bull's Dukes.
Bit of ghosting there. Dukes, it all went wrong.
Is that Kana? Is that Kana as well facing the wrong way?
It
Kana
is.
has had a spin out, but is back on track.
Well, that could have been the sort of thing that might have pulled a safety car, but it wasn't. And this race will continue.
Pray for Kana. Sector 2 issues as well. I just think it's the runoff of Kana. And yep, Canurdi kind of in the no man's space.
Oh, Jock James.
Ferron behind him. Oh.
Jock James has made a mistake and oh no. Oh no, oh no.
Oh no.
Well, how badly could that have gone? He outbraked himself, had to cut the chicane, got a 3-second time penalty for doing it, and then took out his teammate on his way back onto the circuit.
Indeed, but he did come on. A safety flag in sector 3 again. I just think that's still a bit of Kana just recovering the car back round though. Yep, Jock James showing just as deadly to anybody as even his teammate.
I don't think T-Keg has an answer to Ice Kid Man, barring a mistake from the Williams or a safety car in the next couple of laps.
Or another penalty.
Speaking of which,
sector 1, it is
Jock James.
Jock James at Renault corner.
We get away with it.
And indeed. But Kana in the pits also with some nose damage from his spin at hairpin. Yeah, Canurdi kind of in the space of no man. Like, he's obviously sitting here. He does have a penalty of his own, and Ferron is within that gap. So Canurdi does need to get a bit of distance.
Hercules needs to clear this Williams. He's going down the inside into the chicane. There's contact between the pair. Arif has retired. Arif is out. At the exit of the Spoon corner. Hercules with contact against Ice Kid Man's teammate. No wing damage. Arif is out of the race.
Indeed.
But it's not pulling a safety car.
No, not yet.
And now Hercules is out of range of Nordy, of course.
Indeed. The more yellow flags kicking up. Is a Reese still on the Reese car has now gone off the track. But we'll clear that. Jock struggling to get this car back, getting into the pit lanes. So it'll be interesting. Ice Kid Man is running a bit slower this lap. Will he pick up another time penalty? He's done a few warnings so far at the Spoon curve.
I regret changing the onboard camera for Hercules when he went for the move. I thought we'd get a nice angle of it, but we didn't. We got a terrible angle of it, and then we didn't quite see whether Ferron left him enough space into the final chicane. Maybe that one will go with the stewards. But Hercules not exactly herring back up the road towards him, is he?
No, it will be another hard fight back, that 4 seconds gap. Nerdy, though, does need to get a bit more pace if he wants to avoid losing podium to Ferron.
Yeah,
based on that penalty
obviously,
that he has.
Hercules going for that has meant that he's now out of range against Nordy. He's 5 seconds back from the McLaren, so won't gain that position when Nordy gets the 3 second time penalty.
No, indeed not. It looks like a possible podium for Ferron here on his debut, bringing it a Williams 1-3. Unless Ice Kid Man has any more hiccups. Kana with a penalty as well, just off at the Degner curve.
Dukes is off. Dukes is off the circuit in the final part of the lap. Front wing damage and spins again.
Oh.
It's lap 26. That's probably going to be too late.
Oh.
Yeah, that's going to be too late to call a safety car. We've just about got away with it. Off the track is Cookie. Facing the wrong way. They're trying. By God, they're trying. Oktoberfoff is 11th and on the verge of a point.
Wow.
Dan Gilligan is in the points.
There is another car. Is it Jock James on? No, it's not Jock James.
It's still Cookie recovering.
Cookie. Yeah. Coming into Renault corner.
3.9. Can T-Keg on this last lap find a second? He needs a mistake from Ice Kid Man somewhere. De Williams is in the lead of this race. Another yellow flag. It's Cookie again.
It's Cookie. It's Cookie again.
On the gold tyres.
We're just going to assume that any yellow flags in Sector 2 and 3 are Cookie at this point. T-Keg not looking like he's got it. Mahoney needs about another second to stretch so he doesn't lose his 7th point to Daft.
Look at the gap between Nordy and Ferron for the final podium place. It's just gone to 3 seconds. Yellow flag sector 2 is Cookie again. Ice Kid Man leads.
Indeed.
On the final lap of the Japanese Grand Prix.
Lock up as well.
And he's just got to do what he didn't do in Belgium when he's in the lead. Yeah. And it's all looking good. Just get it home. Get it home to the line.
That's it. Home to the line with...
Oh, Hercules has picked up a penalty here. Hercules has picked up 3 seconds. So that's going to drop him behind Van on base.
That is.
But it's all looking serene for Ice Kid Man. He's not made the mistake that T-Keg needed. Cookie's now out of the race, but it's in the pit lane.
It is.
But with just the final chicane to go, Williams haven't won here since 1990 something. 96 definitely, 97 maybe. But out of the final corner comes Ice Kid Man to win in Japan and extend his lead in this Division 5 championship. T-Keg in the end 1.1 seconds behind thanks to the penalty. And Nordy will complete the podium. He's completely dropped Ferron, who's made a mistake.
Yeah.
Ferron finishes 4th.
Right behind Ferron, yeah.
Van Base 5th, Hercules 6th. And Mahoney's about to take
he's got
a lot of time penalties.
Penalty for not serving it, yeah.
But he might have a bit of advantage over Daft. Oh, he gets him by a 10th. Mahoney does finish 7th. Dan Gilligan finishes behind Evil Steel. Evil Steel with more points for Red Bull. And Dan Gilligan, after all of that, does pick up a point today. But there we go. The session I'm trying to join is no longer available.
As is mine, so
I don't know what happened there.
And decide to run away. I hope somebody saved that screenshot.
Well, that ends that then. And I don't even get the chance to run you through the final result. But Ice Kid Man was the winner of that race. Session crash for everyone. Well, I'm glad we've got a stream because that means we can, at the very least, make sure that we've got a result to present to the stewards. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in for another entertaining Division 5 race. It wasn't quite Belgium, but there was still plenty of entertainment there.
we had both Renaults trying to just destroy their qualifying round Renault corner, which we probably should now call it. We had interesting wheel changes decisions, mediums to hards, and we had Hercules almost getting a great comeback, but also making a few mistakes on a few passes. So it was a lot of action.
If I could give you the worst news I could possibly think of, there are only 3 Division 5 races to go.
I mean, could we maybe just add a few more on? Like, can we let Division 5 finish with like a Monaco in the rain? Just for the fun of it, you know? Everybody else could drive Silverstone, but Division 5 could do Monaco in the rain for triple points.
Maybe we'll do the Division 5 exhibition Monaco in the rain race at the end of the season. I don't know. But it was won by Ice Kid Man today once again. He's now won, what'll that be, 3 of the last 5 races, something like that? He's really on the
only time he's not won is when the only time Ice Kid Man hasn't won is when he's yeeted himself off the track.
He's looking like the championship favourite.
Well, we'll see how he gets on. We do have Hungary and Silverstone in Canada. Well, Hungary, Canada, Silverstone still to come. So 3 big races. And yeah, we'll see. TKEG is definitely going to have to pull something out. Hercules with damage limitation really today after that first few laps. And then Ferron, Ferron coming into the division, big 3rd place that I believe that he got there in the end after Canurdi's penalties.
No, Nodi hang on to the 3rd place. He dropped him at the end, so Nodi did finish 3rd. And Ferron made a mistake on the final lap and ended up finishing 4th. But still, an excellent debut for the Williams driver, who I think we all think should have gone a few more laps on the mediums and could have really, really, really been in a position to take the fight to the front too, had he been able to pit for the soft tyres.
I will be definitely looking forward to Hungary and seeing Ferron and Ice Kid Man going head to head, just to see how much pace they've both got.
Guys, we're going to...
Harringzord, driver of the day.
Oh, driver of the day. Oh, what a question. What a question.
I've been known to have them.
Who am I going to give it to? I'm going to give it to Ferron today. Just on debut. I think Ice Kid Man obviously led the race, but did make the mistake that almost cost him the win with a 3-second time penalty. TKEG was there or thereabouts, but it was a mistake on the strategy, I think, that made him go to the hard tyres. Then he had to pit again. Van Base was strong, but made a couple of mistakes. Hercules was strong, but made a couple of mistakes. Nordi was strong, but made a couple of mistakes. I think Ferron was clean enough today on debut. And I think we'll be regretting not going to the soft tyres, as opposed to going a little bit early to the hard tyres there and going medium hard. But ultimately, a strong drive to P4 in that one. Yourself?
Agreed. I would have to agree with that entirely. Whether the pit too hard was an error with Jeff, as we all know, who needs to take a lot of blame for these things, or it was just he wanted to go into the hard tyres because he felt that gave him the best chance. Definitely a very strong drive. As I said, I can't wait for next week to see him really push Ice Kid Man, and who knows, we might have a Williams costing another Williams the title.
Is it next Sunday? Yeah. It's a real shame.
7 days to go. 7 days to go until Division 5 gets to wrap up Hungary.
Guys, we are going to leave it there for this evening and indeed this FRS weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you to McNugget, as always. I hope you enjoyed it again.
Definitely. It was good to be back after sadly missing last race, so I can firmly say the curses are back. Remember, chat, don't let Canis see the qualifying clip and don't clip it.
We will be back in a week's time as Division 5 moves on to the Hungaro Ring in Hungary, and we are very excited to see you there.